You either grow your glutes or you have abs. This is the main thing that you hear all the time. And I know that you probably think that it's not possible to have both, but I'm here to reassure you that it is possible with the right strategy. If you've been bulking and then you gain a lot of abdominal fat and then you lost your abs, or you did a cut and now you have abs but you don't have glutes, then this video is for you. Hi, my lovely people. My name is Vanessa and I'm a certified personal trainer and I'm here to help you reach your fitness goals. So let's get into the video because I hate watching videos that has a long ass intro, so I wouldn't like to do the same to you guys. The first thing that you need to understand is what is this concept of gaining muscle while losing fat. This is essentially body recomposition. Either you're familiar with that concept or not, I'm going to explain anyways. And who is this best suited for? This is best suited for beginners, intermediate lifters, overweight people, or people who are coming back from a break. Of course, if you don't fit into these criteria, you can still see results from body recomposition. It's just harder and it takes longer. The first thing that everyone hates, myself included, and it needs to be done, otherwise you won't see results and you're just wasting your time. Nutrition is going to be the main dictator whether you're going to gain weight, lose weight, or do body recomposition, because we can do the exact same workout. What will differentiate whether you're going to gain or lose or maintain is nutrition, the amount of calories that you consume, your macros, and all of those pretty things. Okay, so let's understand abs. I know a lot of people say that the abs are built in the kitchen. Actually, the abs are built in the gym and they are revealed in the kitchen. What does this mean if you didn't get it by now? Abs are muscle, just like your bicep, just like your glutes, just like any other muscle we have in our body. So in order for them to be visible, you need to work them out. And we will get into that in a second. Now we're getting into the part of having them visible, which is not having a lot of fat on top of your muscle. That's why some people might be able to contract their abdominal muscles. You can feel the muscle, but there's so much fat on top of it that they are not visible. So this is the part the nutrition comes into play. How are we going to eat in order to shed fat without losing muscle? When it comes to calories, we want you to be in maintenance calories. Your maintenance calories are the calories that your body needs for you to exist. So if you eat around those maintenance calories, you're not going to lose or gain weight. If you eat more than what your body is spending, you will gain weight. If your body is spending much more than what you're eating, you're going to lose weight. Wait, did I say that right? If your body spends. Yeah. So this is why it's so important for you to be around maintenance calories or a very small deficit. Why a very small deficit? Because if you do a big cut, which is going so low on your calories, you are going to lose fat and you're going to see quick results, but you are also going to lose your muscles, which is what we don't want. Now, whether you're going to stay around maintenance or a slight deficit, that will essentially depend on where you are on the spectrum. If you are a person that is much more concerned right now in losing fat, do a slight deficit. But if you're somewhere in between, just do maintenance calories. And of course, if you do a big surplus, you already know you will gain the glutes. You will have amazing glutes, trust me. But you will have a lot of fat gain as well, which is also what we don't want. When it comes to your macros, if you are an absolute beginner, I always say don't stress too much on macros. They are very important and they play a big role when it comes to seeing results. But as a beginner, focus more on your calorie intake, your training, and all of those other components that I'm going to get into right now. Macros come after because I don't want you to get overwhelmed and then you just end up not doing anything and you end up not seeing any results. But whether a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, these two components are so important, which is protein and fiber. Protein intake. You need to be eating your protein. You break down your muscle fibers when you're working out. You need protein in order to build them. Carbs. Always pick healthier carb options like quinoa, sweet potatoes, vegetables. Those are amazing. Of course, you can still eat your rice every here and there and a pasta because we are not restricting ourselves over here. But always try to go for healthier carb options because carb is energy and we need energy in order to go to our workouts and to lift heavier. That is what will fuel our glute growth and our muscle growth. Fats. I know a lot of people hate this word because fat is what we don't want, but when it comes to nutrition, we need to be eating healthy fats. You have your nuts, you have your avocados, you have a bunch of different healthy fat options. You just need to be smart with them, but you cannot restrict yourself from eating fat. Especially as women, we have hormones. We cannot just be playing around. Cut your fats and just see the repercussions. If you're eating them and you're being intentional with the kind of fat that you're putting in your body. Fiber is so important, especially if you're a person that has a lot of appetite during this period of time, whether you're doing a slight deficit or maintenance. Fiber will help you with not feeling as hungry and as well with your gut health. If the angle looks a little bit different and a little bit weird, it's because I had to change my cameras because the other one was running out of battery. At this period of time, I need you to be as consistent as possible because body recomposition is something that takes more time compared to a cut or compared to a surplus, because when you're bulking up, it is so quick for you to gain the weight, and when you're cutting, it is so quick for you to shed the fat. Then when some people go and they do body recomp for the first time, they're like, why is my body not changing? It does take some time. So I want you to be consistent. I don't want you to be perfect and for you to do everything perfectly and you just burn out and you end up giving up. I want you to be as consistent as possible. I want you to have weekly consistency, then daily perfection, because that's literally just the best way for you to just quit. And also with body recomposition, it is very important for you to have a sustainable eating. I don't want extremes, because besides extremes not being healthy mentally and physically, it is also not sustainable over time, and you will need the overtime when it comes to body recomp. So it's important for you to do things that are sustainable and things that you can live with and continue doing them until you start seeing the results. Now, this is more optional. This is something that I always say to my clients and that I do myself that gives them the best results and has given me as well. Whole foods. Always prioritize whole foods. Cut all the processed foods as much as you can. Most times our bodies are inflamed, we are bloated, our gut is all messed up. Sometimes it's not that we have a lot of abdominal fat, it is that we have a lot of bloating. So if we can eliminate that out of the factor and just cutting out processed foods, that would be amazing as well. It's just not healthy. Now for training, we are trying to grow glutes and have visible abs. So we are going to start by the glute part and what it is that you have to do in order to grow the glutes. You can train your glutes anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. I always say 2. Rest is also very important, and give a break between the days. So the one thing that I always put in my programs that you have linked in my bio or when I'm coaching is always Monday, a glute isolate day, and Friday, a glute isolate day. That way you have enough rest between the 2 glute workouts and you can give your all between both workouts. And when it comes to this, sometimes less is more. A lot of people have this idea that having 7, 8 exercises is optimal for growth, and if you're doing 4 to 5 exercises is not optimal. I always have anywhere from 4 to 6, and 6 is such a stretch when it comes to my workouts. If I'm working out my glutes, I will focus on 4 exercises for that day and I will be the most intentional as I can with them. Sometimes you might be doing the correct exercises, you might be doing everything perfect, but you're just rushing through your exercises. You just want to get it over with. The glute is something that you have to be very intentional, especially if you're a quad dominant person, because your quads will just take over. And if you're rushing through the movement, you're not focusing on that mind and muscle connection, you will be working out your quads, and you will notice over time I'm having a lot of quad development and I'm not having any glute growth. Yeah, you're rushing through your reps. No wonder. So anywhere from 4 to 6 exercises, I would say 4 to 5 is actually perfect. Focus on compound movements like hip thrusts, squat variations. Focus on isolate movements like cable kickbacks. You have your hip abductions. I always prefer to put the isolate towards the end of the workouts and put the compounds first. That way I have more strength for the compound exercises and then the isolate movement so that it tires out my muscle as much as I possibly can. Unilateral exercises will be your best friend. As I said, you have to be very intentional with your glutes. So if you're giving separate, isolate attention to each glute, trust me, they will grow. You have your step ups, you have your Bulgarian split squats. There's a bunch of different exercises that you can do that are unilateral. They are amazing. When it comes to the compounds, find that sweet spot between being intentional and having a good form and lifting heavy. And this is also another principle that is progressively overloading on my programs. I always do weekly progress overload, whether it's increasing weights or increasing reps, decreasing rest time. There's a bunch of different things. And if you've been hearing the term progressive overload and you don't know what it is, essentially it's just gradually making your workouts harder over time. If you're increasing your reps, it is going to be harder than it was last time. If you increase your weights, if you decrease your rest time, focus on progressive overload because your body will end up getting used to the movements that you're doing for the amount of reps that you're doing for the amount of weight that you're doing. So if you continue increasing them, you are continuously giving your muscles reasons to grow. Progressive overload weekly or bi-weekly, just set something and stick to that and follow that. Now, this is where the twist comes in, and this is where a very important and crucial part to the visible abs part comes into play, which is, as I've mentioned before, abs are a muscle, right? And of course, planks, crunches, all of those pretty things, they have a place and time and they are amazing exercises for your core. We need to grow the muscle, right? In order for us to have visible abs much quicker without having to go so low on our body fat, which is unhealthy for women, we need to grow the abs. So in order for us to grow the abs, we need weight. And this is where I switch a few things up. Weighted ab exercises. I have upper body days twice a week, which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh my God, who's texting me? On Tuesdays and Thursdays. And towards the end of the workouts, I always have a very special place that is dedicated for abs. You can do it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. It is really up to your schedule and your own programming. On my programs, I have it twice a week. So on my latest challenge, which you have the link in my bio, it is Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Towards the end of your upper body days, you will have weighted crunches, whether on the machine or on the cable, and you're going to have weighted leg raises. And these you can also progressively overload, which is lifting heavier weights and doing more reps. Over time, you will notice that the muscles on your abs are much thicker, so it is easier for you to see, even if the fat around your abdominal area is not as low. Cardio. A lot of people, when they talk about body recomp, this is one of the main things that they skip. Although I understand that you don't essentially need this part in order to see results, but as I said, this is a very slow process. So if you can do anything to speed it up, or if you can do anything to just be more optimal, why not do it? This is why cardio is so important when it comes to body recomp, and something that is a non-negotiable on me, my programs, and my coaching style. Cardio's role is to support your training and not to replace it. You're going to do it post-workout. You don't have to do intense, excessive cardio. As long as you're doing moderate intensity, you will be fine. What I usually do is incline walking. Some days I'm feeling a little bit brave and I do interval sprints, but this is optional. You don't have to do interval sprints. So if you don't like to run, you can do incline walking. I do the cycling bike on my lower body days. So after having a glute day or having a quad day, I go on the bike and I do some cycling as well. You don't have to do it for a long period of time, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, you're fine. Depends on the intensity as well. My main tip when it comes to cardio is just pick a type of cardio that you actually enjoy. That way you don't skip it. Instead of focusing on what's the best to give me results, focus on what is something that I can sustainably do for a long period of time. This is an extra thing that you can do and that I am telling you to do, because don't skip your cardio. Baddies work out for their health as well and not just for aesthetics. And if we're putting that into account, do your cardio. And another thing that you can add on is steps. And I know because it's so low in effort, sometimes we're like, is it really doing anything? Trust me, it is. If you don't have any extra time to get your steps in, sometimes when you can walk somewhere, instead of driving there, it's a 5 to 10 minute walk, or even a 20-minute walk if you have time, do that. If you have some extra time and you can just walk around a little bit, do that. If you can go on the stairs instead of the escalator or elevator, do that. Because these small things that you can do in order to get your steps in much easier and much quicker, that is going to make a huge difference. Water intake. I know a lot of people like to skip this step. If you're not a water person, drink some tea. Find a way to get your water intake up. A soup, getting some tea, drinking your water directly. I do not care, but I need you to drink your water. Why? Because it supports digestion. It supports so many things. I don't even have to list them here. Listen to me, drink your water, because contrary to popular belief, some people think that drinking a lot of water might make you bloated. No, the contrary. It will ultimately help you get less bloated. Rest and recovery. I mean, you already know that it's very important for you to sleep, for you to rest between your workouts. A lot of people think that my muscles are growing during the workout, so if I work out more, I'm going to see more results. No, you need to rest. Your body actually develops when you're resting, because sleeping actually supports muscle growth and fat loss, which is what we want, right? So I know all of this sounds like a lot of information, but over time, it just gets easier. And these are more automatic things that you will end up doing that will ultimately give you these results. It took me some time compared to when I was doing a cut or a bulk in order to see results from body recomp, but it's the best thing ever. I'm never going back. Body recomp literally changed the composition of my body and how I see myself, because now I am able to feel leaner and as well as have muscle. So I don't have to pick between whether I want to look thicker, whether I want to look smaller. If also you don't like this whole thing of having to study this and having to implement it yourself, you want someone to do the job for you, you have the link to my one-on-one coaching down here, as well as the link for my 6 weeks challenge. Do notice that 6 weeks is not going to fix everything. This is just a start in order for you to have the tools, in order for you to be consistent for 6 weeks. Any video ideas and suggestions, anything that you guys want help with, let me know. Thank you so much for watching.